The beginning of Beethoven's Sonata No. 8, Opus 13 was a really ambitious piece to work on for my first analysis, at least when it came to doing a Roman numeral analysis. As I was trying to analyze the grave section of this piece, I erased things so many times before finally realizing that this section is just so chaotic that Roman numerals wouldn't even be appropriate for analyzing it. This section is so crazy with its chromaticism. There are diminished seventh chords that every time you think they're going to resolve, they go in a completely different direction. Let's take a listen. The section starts out with a minor 1 chord, nothing unusual there. Beethoven then repeats this phrase, but tonicizing it in a different key. After doing this a third time, this is where things started to become a little more difficult to analyze. Starting in measure 4, the tonal center shifts from C minor to E flat major. Here we get kind of a gray area, since it's not long enough to be modulation, but we still have some diminished 7th chords that don't seem to have a place in this key. The whole passage of measures 5 through 8 is very chromatic, and therefore nearly impossible to cleanly analyze with Roman numerals. However, after all this chromatic chaos, Beethoven finally gives us a break and uses a cadential 6/4 to bring us back into C minor that starts off the Allegro movement. So if this piece is too complicated to do a Roman numeral analysis, then what is the point of this? Well, there's more to music theory than just a Roman numeral analysis. What really stood out to me was Beethoven's use of dynamics. Combined with the frenzy of chromatic chords, the constant leaping from fortissimo to piano gives the listener emotional whiplash. The grave section of this piece seems very conversational. Well, as much as a person yelling and screaming at someone else could be considered a conversation. Think about it this way, the grave section tells some sort of story. For example, let's say there is a king who asks his servants to do a simple task for him. The servants fail to complete it in the way he wants them to, and becomes enraged with them. The king's response is the equivalent of these violent fortissimo minor chords. Of course, the fearful servants will respond in a scared, timid tone, which matches the major 7th piano chords. Beethoven's use of dynamics to emphasize these kinds of emotions become even more meaningful if you know the name of the piece and a little bit about the composer who wrote it. Sonata No. 8, Opus 13 is commonly known as Sonata Pathetique. Now the word pathétique in French seems to be closely related to our own English word pathetic. We might think of something pitiful or inferior when we hear the word pathetic. However, the meaning pathétique means something completely different. It usually refers to something being emotionally moving, notably by demonstration or the evocation of suffering. It is known that Beethoven suffered during his life. He loved music, but over time he began to lose his hearing, which led to depression and eventually his death from alcoholic liver disease due to alcohol misuse. If I lost my hearing, I'm not sure what I would do, so I couldn't imagine how a person like Beethoven, who loved music so much, would feel. He was also known to have spouts of anger. He got into a fight with his brother Karl in his 40s and even attacked Prince Karl Lichnowsky with a chair because Beethoven believed he should be able to play the piano for some French officers. This translates so well into the emotions of this piece, and this is only the first 10 measures. So, while this piece may not be the best to analyze in terms of a Roman numeral analysis, good luck to anyone who tries, Beethoven's Sonata Pathetique has so much to offer the audience in terms of artistry and evoking emotion.